All right, so we're going to start on accounts receivable. So if we click on the accounts receivable tab, you'll see that we now have a listing of all of our customers that owe money, and because of everything else you're used to in BVEssentials, now you're going to obviously realize that you can sort these. So now if you sort over 120, I get to see all my over 120 customers at the same time. So I can figure out, who I should be calling. We've got their phone numbers beside it, and of course the contact you can drag over, so you got the contact right next to it. And then if you need to, you can highlight that particular one, and you hit the print button, and you can choose account statement and just print off a statement or email off a statement to that person. Oh, popped over my other monitor. So there's my statement, so I can do that right from list. Okay, or if you want to use one of my filters that of course you're used to now in version 6s, I've got filters that I've predefined. I can set up as many of these as I want to. So if I choose, say, 60, 90, 120, this is just my customers that are over 60, 90, and 120. So they have something in one of those columns. And I can shorten that even more by going just the 90s and 120s. And then, of course, I can manually change this and say remove my 90, and these are just my 120s. And then with our filters, which you can see in previous versions, I can now save that presets, call this over 120, and save that. And now that becomes another filter that I can select off this list or add it to my columns, so it becomes another one over on the side here. Of course, I can move that up to where it should be. So now I can choose that. So now let's say I'm working all my over 120s. I want to send a statement out to each one of them. Very simple. Highlight every one of them. Press my print button. Click my email button. Choose the contact I want to send it to, and you can send this to contact 1, 2, or 3, or the main contact. So I choose my billing contact, or I may call it accounts payable or whatever I want. Now these are my over 120, so I really want to get a little bit tough with them. So I choose my template called statement strong warning, and you can set up however many of these as you want. So it says important statement from ABC Electronics, their accounts payable, records show your account is severely overdue. Until it's cleared up, we're not able to ship any more product. So if this wasn't a strong and you just want to send a statement, you could choose one of the other ones, which is a little bit lighter on the customer. So then you basically hit the send mail, and it gets sent out to each one of them, gets merged out to each customer. Okay. I'm going to go back to my non-filtered list here, and I'm going to go into a customer now. And I can go into open up the customer itself. There's the account receivable, so there's everything they owe us at this time. This is like all open items, and I can, of course, show my closed items as well by clicking the Show Closed button, and I can see them in here. And I can expand those to see what's linked to them. Very simple to unlink something. I can just hit it and choose my unlinked transaction to click it open. I won't run it right now. And then I can unlink that, or I want to show everything, expand all, so that way I'm seeing everything that's linked to each transaction. That way if I'm searching for something, it'll search the whole list. Okay. To view a transaction, I simply highlight it and look at the journal entry. So there's a GL entry here. And if it's an invoice that I'm looking at, I can go view source, and it pops open the invoice. Now the beauty of this is if I decide I want to credit this invoice out now, I don't have to go out of this module into my billing module. I simply hit the credit button, brings up the invoice in reverse, hit the invoice button, it posts it to AR and inventory and everywhere else, and then ends up in my AR module ready to apply the credit to one of the accounts. So very simple. We try to make it so you can do everything within the modules as much as we can within BVEssentials. So by just highlighting and drilling down, we allow you to get up to other parts of the program. So in this case, if I want to send the customer statement from in here, I can do the same thing, hit my print and print off statement, or any other reports you may have in there as well. I do have access to the customer itself. If I open customer, it pops open the actual customer's card, and I can look at things like sales history, or more likely I want to look at open orders, because if they're overdue, I want to see what else we're just about ready to ship them. And from here, I can go into these orders, have a look at them as well to see what the actual order is. And if I want to, I can put the customer completely on hold at this time. That way we don't ship any more products to them. Okay. All right, so if you're going to decide now that you want to charge them some service charges, we can just hit the apply button here, and it just does this one customer. It allows you to put the date you want to post the transaction for, whatever interest rate. This comes from the setup, the system setup of the program, where it picks your rate you set up for it, and then it calculates it out. You can adjust these on the fly. You can change the amount you're going to charge them if you want to round it out, or then you can do that right from here. All right. Okay, so lastly, in accounts receivable here, we want to show how to pay something. So basically, I just highlight what I want to pay. It shows our total down here, $22,000, that I'm going to pay now. And I just hit the payment button. It pops up my post screen. You may want to put a reference number if they're paying by check, or a memo as well. Notice that this post automatically flag is checked. That's because my user setting is set to have it so that the auto post is on, so it always just posts automatically. But I'm also set to allow to change that. So instead of making you close this whole screen because you forgot to turn off auto post and going back to the setting and turn auto post back off, and then coming back here and do it again, we allow you to on the fly change that setting as you go, if you have access to that. And then I simply hit my post. My GL entry comes up. I can redirect this GL account to whatever GL account I want, if it's Visa or some other payment method, and I simply hit the post button. So now my transactions are gone and linked, of course. But if I go back to show closed again, and I show this payment, notice what we did there was that we linked all the transactions underneath of the payment itself. So you didn't have to make sure that the payment was, put the payment in first, and then tick it first, and then all the payments, and then link them. We just automatically link the payments. In addition to that, because of our capability of highlighting everything, it's very simple to highlight it all and hit the unlink with one transaction instead of having to go click, unlink, click, unlink, click, unlink. So it unlinked everything automatically. And again, for linking, simply highlight and link the transactions, and they're gone again. Okay. So that's our accounts receivable module. We think it's using the same interface as Business Vision. You're free to go ahead and use AR and Business Vision or BVEssentials. Same database structure. Just remember, you need to set that refresh rate a little higher if you want to work in both places. But we believe the interface we put on accounts receivable is very easy to use and very easy to learn, and gives you a lot more power and access to your accounts receivable. One thing I should show you while we're on this list here is that if I do want to charge service charges to all my, say, over 120 customers, I highlight that, set a filter or highlight, and I can apply finance charges from here as well. Then it brings up all the customers, what it's going to charge them, and again, we give you a chance to tweak this before you hit the post button. But once you hit the post, it just posts that transaction to their account. And of course, we do respect whether the customer is set to having a flag set for whether we charge them service charges or not.